Good evening, friends. Happy July. It's July. Yay. Welcome to Questions Worth Pondering. I just want to say that tonight is going to be a little different because it is a holiday week and I kind of wanted to keep it light this week. So we're going to have a little fun. We're going to make fun of some folks and, little TDS, a little bit of meltdowns, and some panic. And so if you would please like the video and subscribe if you're not already subscribing. And I think we're just going to get right into it. There are so many things to make fun of and laugh at, and some liberal tears, even some maybe Republican tears, you know? You never know. But anyway, welcome. I see there's some folks on Rumble. Say hi. I want to know who's hanging out with us tonight. I'm going to start with this guy. This guy wants us to admit that we were wrong, please. Are you ready to admit that you were wrong? Let's listen.
So, for the people who voted for Trump or have supported Trump, can you finally just admit you were wrong? Trump has spent his entire life bankrupting businesses, and now, surprise, surprise, he's bankrupting the United States. So look, we can move on, but if you supported Trump or voted for him, just please, finally, now, just admit you were wrong.
Just admit you were wrong. Hey, Carrie, just please admit you were wrong. I also want to give some accolades to people that I stole all of these meltdown videos. So let's see. We've got Midnight Rider, Carly Bonet. She posted some of them. Lives of TikTok. We've got The Storm Has Arrived. Carrie gave me one, and I think I might have stolen one from Dot Connecting Anons and Pepe Lives Matter, and then others I just happened to come across. So there's a few alligator Alcatraz meltdowns as well. Actually, you know what, guys? I just have to give you a warning before we start. This is a language warning. So there is some rough language tonight. I normally don't show rough language, but some of these meltdowns, it's not my fault, you know? They kind of do it. They are using vulgar language. So let's go ahead and continue. All right, alligator Alcatraz meltdown. We've got alligator Alcatraz, where Trump actually, I think, didn't he go there today? In Florida. And, you know, some people just aren't happy about it, and I don't understand why.
You're calling it alligator Alcatraz. Are you fucking kidding me? If you missed it, Trump is headed to a low-cost immigrant detention camp built by Ron DeSatan in the Florida Everglades. According to Triple K Caroline, quote, the only way out is via a one-way flight.
First he called Ron DeSantis Ron DeSatan. And our press secretary, KKK Caroline. Yeah. And you know what? This guy's not even for real. He's just trying to get attention. But let's go ahead and continue.
And it's surrounded by dangerous wildlife. You cannot be fucking serious. Listen, I know most maggots are 10-watt bulbs in 200-watt sockets, but let me see if I can make this crystal fucking clear for you. A large concentration of folks deemed undesirable by the government put in a camp with no due process. If only there were some historical similarities there. Oh wait, they might as well fucking write hard work will set you free above the entrance. And oh yeah, as for the whole low cost and efficiency thing, the expected spending on this is $450 million to intern 1,000 people. Not a great look.
Okay, he's a little overboard. Uh, I can't even stand to listen to him anymore. But Joy Reid was also not too happy with Alligator Alcatraz. I have to ask you guys something though. If people do not want the most hardened criminals to be in a place where it's very difficult for them to escape, you have to ask yourself why, right? Right.
To forget about him, but Ron DeSantis is still governor of Florida. He took the Comfy Couch hosts on a tour of the concentration camp that he's building in Florida in order to.
She's calling it a concentration camp.
Round up brown people, and throw them in a camp because he doesn't want them in Florida. Surprise, surprise, the economy of Florida is going to be severely harmed by rounding up brown people who, by the way, all over this country.
Rounding up brown people. That's what she says.
Latinos are afraid to go to work. Anybody who is perceived or looks Latino is afraid to go to work. I know people who are.
Okay, you just have to ask her why, and that rhetoric language, but this is a meltdown. They are melting down over Alcatraz, and it's hilarious.
I need somebody to tell me that I'd not just walk upstairs and see a clip on the news talking about Alligator Alcatraz, a prison camp that they're building in the Everglades in Florida to throw immigrants into. Truly, what the fuck is happening when they're in the middle of construction of a prison camp in the fucking Everglades to throw immigrants into, which by the looks of it, of what I saw on the screen, looked just like several rows of cargo shipping containers. They're building a fuck ton of shipping containers that they're gonna throw human beings into because they're immigrants. If that wasn't already horrifying enough to throw human beings into fucking containers, Florida had to Florida and be like, you know what, I'll do you one better. Not only are we going to make this disgusting fucking prison camp, but we're going to put it right in the Everglades next to all the fucking gators and joyfully refer to it as Alligator fucking Alcatraz. No, absolutely not.
Okay. So somebody needs to go to these people and ask them about Lake and Riley, because these are the types of people that will be going to Alligator Alcatraz. People that come in and they're part of gangs and they are raping and killing our citizens. So she can, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. I've got one more Alligator Alcatraz, and this cracked me up. So this is on YouTube, and what cracked me up was the title of it. So, yeah, I'm gonna
joining us here.
Let's hope this loads. The whole purpose. Okay. Where is our humanity? Migrants to be held at Alligator Alcatraz, surrounded by swampland. Oh, where is our humanity? We won't watch this whole thing, but let's watch the beginning.
Here in the studio right now, we have Minority Leader of the Florida State Senate, Lori Berman. She represents parts of Palm Beach County, Florida. Welcome to you. And the town is, or the area, how is it? Is it Ochapi? Is that it?
I don't even know. It's
Well,
the Everglades.
Right.
It's an hour from anywhere near. Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm awfully glad to have you, because let's talk about who came up with this idea. I believe it was the Attorney General of the state of Florida.
Okay, let's look at their Chiron down here. Alligator Alcatraz facility for migrants surrounded by swampland of mosquitoes, pythons, and alligators. If these people did not have TDS, they would not be complaining about this facility at all. All right, we'll listen a little bit more and then we'll move on to something else.
And you have made your concerns known. Let's talk about that.
I mean, we have so many concerns about this project that's moving at warp speed. This only started a little over 1 week ago that the Attorney General announced we were going to have this project. There are ethical concerns, there are environmental concerns, there are financial concerns. So we wrote a letter to
ethical and environmental concerns. Alrighty. Okay, what else is going on? Oh, earlier last month, Kristi Noem was doing a press conference, and the Democrats, judges and senators are all just going crazy over the immigration stuff and securing our border and everything that they're willing to get themselves arrested even. And Alex Padilla was one of those people.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your heads off.
You have to ask, why are they fighting so hard for illegal immigrants to be able to just come in here and do whatever they want? They are fighting so hard against having open borders, not having open borders, securing our border, arresting these criminals. And yeah, we just have to ask them why. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Okay. The other thing people are complaining about is the big, beautiful bill and the budget. And one of the people just not happy about it, very upset about it, is Elizabeth Warren.
Leaving the Senate now. At the end of the vote, when the Republicans won, they cheered. They cheered over taking.
When the Republicans won, they cheered. The big, beautiful bill passed today, guys. And the Republicans cheered. Okay, let's see what else she has to say.
Away health care from around 17 million people. They cheered over giving.
They took away health care from 17 million people. Did she just pull that number out of her rear? I have no idea where she got that info from.
Huge tax breaks to a handful of billionaires. They cheered over running up the national debt by another $3.5 trillion. You know, this bill, it's bad. It's bad economically. It's bad morally. This bill is just wrong. But we stay in the fight. We stay in the fight. We stay in the fight. And we proved why we stay in the fight, because actually there are pieces of this bill that we got better. We got the tax on solar and wind knocked out, and that's going to help with clean energy. We got a few different pieces and made them better. So that's reason number one, is always the reminder. All of those calls matter. Reason number two is it's still not over. The bill has now got to go back over to the House. And there are a lot of Republicans who are feeling really squeamish about this bill at this point.
Oh, really? What Republicans in the House? I believe it passed the House not by a squeak. So I think it will still pass the House again. The reason it has to go back to the House is because the Senate made amendments. So let's see what happens. I want to see it on Trump's desk this week. I wonder if the House will vote on it tomorrow. But anyway, so she wasn't happy about it. CNN also isn't happy about the budget. So they're really worried because Trump is a bully. You know, Trump's a bully. Let's see. This is YouTube. I'm going to pause it while it loads. But I didn't really have time to clip this one, so I apologize if I clipped it at the wrong spot. I might have.
because you're talking about losing all livelihoods in communities when you rip away foundational community organizations and foundational building blocks of communities like hospitals, like your school system, other things that we've seen Republicans come after aggressively with this budget and also with federal cuts right now.
So the federal cuts
you're
are
not,
going
just so everybody
to-
knows.
The federal cuts are going to pull down communities. They won't have any hospitals. They won't have any schools. The rhetoric from the left is pretty hilarious. Who else is not too happy with what's going on in the world? Oh my gosh, you guys, I have so many meltdown clips. I hope I can get through them all. Comey is not happy.
Something supported by a lot of conservatives out there. What do you make of this?
By the way, before he talks, I just want to say, I want to set the stage for this because what happened is that the government is actually reinvestigating some things that happened during the Biden administration, and Comey's just not happy about it. So let's listen to some of those things that are being reopened to be reinvestigated. It's unbelievable. And it's funny that CNN even allowed this clip because as much as they're complaining about it, it highlights all these crazy things that happened. But let's listen.
It's a little confusing to me, honestly. I'm sure it's a huge adjustment to go from being a podcaster to being the deputy director of the FBI, but I don't understand this tweet. First of all, I assume that the investigation of the pipe bomb that was found on January 6th was never closed. The FBI never closes such a thing. So
January 6th pipe bomb is one. He's saying Dan Bongino was a podcaster who came in to be in this powerful position. He doesn't mention what Dan Bongino's background was before this, working for the Secret Service and all of that. But J6 pipe bomber, they're reopening that investigation. Let's see what else.
So I guess it means they're going to focus on it more. And as to the other things, I thought the Supreme Court marshal had investigated the leak of the opinion, the draft opinion. I don't know what the FBI.
The leak of the draft opinion, I think he's talking about for Roe versus Wade. They're going to try to find out who the leaker is. By the way, and he's not happy about it. So I feel like he's in a little bit of a panic right now. By the way, I've been seeing so many hints in what the Trump administration is doing. I feel like they are weeding out the leakers. They're finding them and they're like smoking them out. I wasn't prepared to talk about this right now. I was going to bring up some evidence of that on another show, but I've just noticed a lot of that. But let's continue and see what else he doesn't like.
Guy's role is there. Cocaine at the White House. I thought.
Cocaine at the White House. Okay, Comey doesn't understand why they're going to investigate that.
The Secret Service investigated that, so I don't follow it and understand it. I also don't understand who the audience is for this tweet. The FBI.
He doesn't understand who the audience is for the tweet. Dan Bongino tweeted. The audience is called American citizens.
I often calls for public assistance or in matters of great public concern will announce an investigation to reassure the public. This seems much more narrowly targeted, maybe to a former podcast audience.
That's potentially what's going on. I want to get your also reaction to an exchange the new FBI director, Kash Patel.
For a podcast audience, I'm not going to continue with him, but basically they showed Kash Patel being asked in a hearing whether or not he's going to approve some budget, and he said, as soon as it gets to me, I'll look at it. And they asked him if he could give them a date, and he said as soon as possible. And they can't understand why he would do that. Okay. This next one, there are some crazy protesters out there, the leftists losing it, the Rees, the so-called protesters. This particular one is Scary. And I'm going to pause it after he speaks a little bit to say what he said in case you don't catch it. But let's listen.
I won't change your little town. Your own children will.
I won't change your little town. Your own children will. So you should see this guy is literally shaking as he talks. And I'm going to rewind it so you can hear that again. And the rest of the video, I think, is more audible.
I won't change your little town. Your own children will. Your children will see us. Your children will love us. And your children will join us.
Your children will love us. Your children will join us. Oh my goodness. This is like, is this guy possessed or what's going on with this guy? I have no idea. There's another crazy protester. Well, let's watch this one. Just kind of nuts.
This is our city, and this was Mexico. You can't kick us out of the land that was ours. Donald Trump! Fascism! Let our people free! Let our people free! Suelta nuestra gente!
What's the windblower for?
Just for the fucking tear gas to blow it back at those motherfuckers. If you have a fucking blower, bring it up! Push them back! We will not do 1992 again with your tanks. I was 12 then. I'm 44 now. I will die for my kids. And all of these young people are here are my kids because I'm an LA native mom. These are my children you're fighting. You, Major Bass, if you can hear me, expect me in your office on Monday for attacking my children.
If you could say something to Donald Trump right now, what would you say?
Donald Trump, you can suck my left nut. You can get out of my drawer. You're just Mac Salma Hayek when they give you the time of day, and because Claudia Sheinbaum make you look like a loser.
Whoa. There's a lot there. The TDS is real, but did you notice what this person admits? So I thought it was a woman, but the person said that Trump could suck the left nut. So it's Pat. I don't know. But this person admits that they want to take over America, said that America belongs to Mexico. Anyway, people are nuts. They're just crazy. They're nuts. And you know what? You know who doesn't have TDS? And he's very clear about it, that he does not have TDS. Cuomo.
You don't have any political vision. Okay? You are the one suffering from myopia. Look that up. You are the one who can't get out of your own way. You have Trump derangement syndrome. I don't. I called his first win. I called his second win. I don't necessarily like that he's what America is choosing, but I understand it. You don't. Because you just see him as giving you this power that your lowly, stupid would have never had otherwise. I think we can do better than that.
Did you know that Trump supporters have TDS? He doesn't have TDS. You have TDS. Didn't you know that? You should have known that. Oh, my goodness. Don Lemon, speaking of ex-CNN people, Don Lemon is not happy about Trump helping people who are being persecuted and killed in South Africa.
This South African farmer bullshit, which is the most blatantly obvious racist shit ever. It is blatantly obvious the way that we treat white South Africans, who, by the way, for the most part, and I am generalizing here, some of the wealthiest people are well-to-do people in the country. They speak their language. They own most of the land and the property. And somehow they're being granted a fast track to become Americans?
This is sick, to be honest with you. So this is not what's happening in South Africa. What they want to do, because the white population is low and the black population is high, they think that black people should own more farms than white people. There's a whole history there of why that is not happening. It's because of who started farming and how the farming went down through the generations. But so what they're trying to do is take the farms away from the white people to give it to the black people. And then now the farms are getting run down and not taken care of, and food is getting scarce, and the white people are being beaten up, persecuted. The females and family members and children are being raped, and they're just taking over their land and just taking it. And it's not like they're trying to hide it. And if you recall, the African, I think, president, if that's the right term for the leader there, was at the White House, and Trump was complaining about it. And he said, no, that's not what's happening. But then Trump showed videos proving that that was the case. So Don Lemon, you can just go away. So yes, and murdered, Carrie. That's right. Hey, Rocker Lady. Hey, Apple Dizzle. Do I know you, Apple Dizzle? Are you going by another name and I don't know who you are? And anybody on YouTube or X, say hi, because we'll be able to see your chats too, by the way. Thank you, Sammy, for joining us. I appreciate it. We miss you. We love you. All right. Oh shoot, I should have talked about this when I talked about immigration, but let's just talk about it. Geraldo is nuts. Geraldo is crazy. Geraldo is just plain dumb.
What they are living in terror now. I'll tell you right now, Piers, I've never seen anything like it, particularly Hispanic. It hits close to home. It is, you can't find workers now. Service.
You can't find workers. I mean, is this how Geraldo thinks of Hispanic people? And I have to say that most of the people, the immigration policies are going against, like MS-13, Venezuelan gangs, Middle Eastern terrorists. That's the people they're going after. They're not going after these smaller people that Geraldo thinks just come here to work at farms or to work as someone's help.
People, the Hamptons are in panic over.
The Hamptons are in panic. Seriously? Like, how out of touch is Geraldo? How out of touch is he?
For our affluent holiday spa in the eastern end of Long Island now, can't find Mexicans to come and work there. It's shocking and it's awful.
This is shocking and awful that he would say that. So I'm all for anybody hiring immigrants if they came here legally and they want to work, and that's the kind of work they want to do. But there's a lot of Americans doing that work too. So this is a stereotype that Geraldo is really stupid. He's just really stupid. As a matter of fact, there were a bunch of manufacturing jobs that opened up because people were here illegally and got deported, and those jobs filled up within 2 days from American citizens who were looking for jobs. So those are high-paying jobs, actually, too. A lot of those manufacturing jobs are really good paying jobs. So anyway, that's my rant. I was just blathering on about Geraldo. So, okay, The next one, oh, this is a good one, guys. This is a really good one. So do you know how some of the prosecutors that were prosecuting J6 and doing the targeting and persecution of peaceful protesters were being looked at and potentially being fired? Well, here's one of those prosecutors.
After 3 weeks of training and getting prepared for the next week, that Friday I left work. I walked to the metro station. I got on the train and I pulled out my phone and I saw a litigation hold that had been put on it. And attached to that was a memo that gave Mr. Martin permission to fire probationary employees from the Capitol Siege section that were moved to other places in the office. The memo referenced people, but didn't have a list of names attached. But the information provided was confusing. I knew I was probably on the list, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. I headed back to the office so I could figure out what was happening. I was met by my colleagues who shared their confusion and a heartbreak over this sudden event. We left the office, and 2 hours later, the letters started rolling in, terminating us. At the end of the night, 15 U.S. attorneys, assistant U.S. attorneys had been fired.
Okay, so she's crying because she was going to get fired and got fired. And here she is bawling. I get it. Like, if you lose your job, that's a traumatic thing. I was laid off last year. I didn't cry, but some people do, and they get upset about it. However, as she is going after and persecuting people, they didn't just lose their job. They lost their freedom. They lost their right to bear arms. They lost their families. They lost friends. They lost their homes if they couldn't afford to keep their homes while they're in prison. They lost seeing their children go through milestones. They lost so much more than she did. This is just unbelievable, this meltdown. So I couldn't help myself. I had to show it. And anyway, so this is one of those prosecutors. Next. Okay, this one, I have to warn you. So I'm going to do a disclaimer before I show this. Cover your eyes if you're sensitive. Do you recall Kathy Griffin? When Trump was running in 2016, I believe she did this. She held up a fake head of Trump with blood hanging out of it. Well, here's her latest stint with her having major filters on her because she does not look like this. Let's watch. What in the heck is wrong with this girl? What is wrong with her? She's sick. She's sick. So she shows heads of other people with blood coming off and just looks at the camera like she's so proud of that. How sick is that? That is just sick, sick, sick. So, yeah, some lost their lives. That's right, Carrie. The J6ers, absolutely. Many lost their lives, actually. And then that guy that committed suicide because he couldn't handle all the pressure of it all. So sad. Okay, let's see. I was debating whether showing Letitia James. I'll think about it. I'm going to skip past her. But Mark Elias, he wants to tell you about lawfare. Mark Elias. Did you know he's an expert? This is one I stole from The Storm Has Arrived.
You know, I'm here today not to tell people everything's going to be okay, but to sound a really loud alarm. which is that Donald Trump has turned the Department of Justice into his personal legal task force.
Oh my goodness, he is sounding the alarm because Donald Trump has turned the DOJ into his personal, what did he say? Personal legal whatever. The TDS is unbelievable. No, they are investigating real crimes. And the ones that turn the DOJ into lawfare is the people surrounding Biden. I won't even say it was Biden because just like Trump says, it's not even Biden. It was the people around him and the people who controlled the auto pen and all of that. But let's continue.
To go after his political opponents. Think about the norms that have already been violated. Pam Bondi, an election denier, put in charge of the Department of Justice. She views herself as part of Team Trump. She hangs out in the Oval Office. She does live shots from the White House, completely unprecedented. Donald Trump goes to the Department of Justice to give speeches in which he attacks lawyers like me and others by name. We have seen the Department of Justice go after his political opponents directly. This is the playbook by which authoritarians are able to subdue their opposition by investigating them, indicting them, and even if they get acquitted, the damage is done. No, Mr. President, we don't prosecute our political opponents. No, Speaker Johnson, we don't want violence against democratically elected politicians in this country. No, they all act like they don't know. They all act like they haven't heard. They all act like they misunderstood or that we're overreacting. I'm telling you, we're not overreacting. This is only 5 months in. This is going to get much, much worse.
He's not wrong. That is how you do authoritarian playbooks. However, that's not Trump's playbook. That is exactly Mark Elias's playbook, the Democrats' playbook. And whatever they accuse you of is what they're guilty of. And but does he seem in a panic or what? I think he is a little bit panicked. I think he is. And he should be. So, all right. What's going on with Mark Levin, by the way, guys? Like, what is going on with Mark Levin? Let's see. So, so this person posted, it's Memorial Day. People are grieving the loss of their loved ones, and you're over here salivating for more war. F you, Mark. And he says, you at the pool shopping? Piece of shit. Asshole. Like, what's going on with Mark Levin? Although it's the Mark Levin show, but seriously, kind of interesting. I don't know what's been going on with Mark Levin, but like him and Tucker were fighting, and he seems like he's all melting down and in a panic. And Rocker Lady says he lost his SH. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. I mean, I love what he says about the Constitution, and I wish he would just kind of stay in his lane there. Promoting war and that kind of stuff. Like, oh, Mr. Levin, just stay in your constitutional lane because that's where you shine. Okay. Minnesota Attorney General. I think I shared this with you guys a while ago. This is just crazy. Minnesota Attorney General sues to stop Trump from bullying. He's a bully. He's bullying vulnerable children. They want to promote the LGBT with the kids and push them into transitioning And Trump's a bully because he won't let them. Oh man, the fight is real, guys. The spiritual fight is real. By the way, I'll get back to my screen. But I love, and this is not like they're not endorsing me or anything. There's no sponsor. But I love Waterloo sparkling water. And I just found this one that just feels very patriotic. It's a red, white, and blue one. And that it's berry. Anyway, that's what I'm drinking tonight. My sparkling water. Okay. We will go. That is a pedo flag. Is it? The blue and the pink and the white? Really? I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay. Next. Yeah, there was an OMB hearing, and one of the liberal representatives, I forget her name, she's the one with the colorful hair, had a little bit of a meltdown because, what's interesting to me here, actually, is Congress thinks if they appropriate money, that money has to be spent. And that's actually not true. So yes, the president and the executive branch can ask for money and they control the purse strings. And they can say, yes or no, we're going to appropriate money for that. And then they'll say, and here's how much we're going to. Well, the interesting thing about that is Democrats take that to mean that if they appropriate money, it has to be spent. Well, that's not the case. So the executive branch can choose to not spend that money if they may have asked for it before and then decided, you know what, we're not going to spend that money. So let's watch this liberal meltdown on the OMB.
You make up constitutional issues where the Constitution places that power of the purse within this body and within an appropriations committee. Historically, it is there, but you make a decision as to what you want to do, what you think is Constitution or not Constitution without any basis in fact, thereby pulling down that website that allows us to see what you are doing. We have no way of knowing if you are carrying out what we have lawfully required the executive branch to do. That is
lawfully required the executive branch to do. What she's saying is we appropriated money, and so you are required to spend the money on what we appropriated it for.
Our responsibility and your responsibility is to carry out what it is that we have appropriated here. You just can't pick and choose whatever the hell you want and going forward. It says, and I yield.
Yes, they can choose not to spend that money. Sorry, you're wrong. Now, they can't choose to take money appropriated for one thing and spend it on another, except in certain circumstances, just like when Trump had to take money from the military to secure our border because it was for national security, because the Dems wouldn't give him the $3 billion he wanted to build the wall. So in that case, that was like an exception. Anyway, they're just melting down. Here's another one. Sammy, you submitted this to me. You sent this to me, and I think you didn't even know I was having the show tonight. But this is really stupid. They want to plan a sick day, a people's sick day. They're saying it's not a protest. It's to harm the system. Let's watch.
What if millions of us stopped working, stopped spending, and stopped producing all at the same time? There's a movement brewing. It's called the People's Sick Day, and what it is a 3-day economic blackout. That means no work, no shopping, no production, just pause. 3 days where we remind the system that without us, nothing moves. But here's the twist. We're not giving out the dates until 48 hours before because we don't want to give the corporations time to plan and stop us from having this happen. Because let's be honest, if they knew what we were planning, they'd shut it down before it even started. This isn't a protest. This is a strategic disruption to the machine that feeds off of our hard work and labor. If you want to be a part of it, go to thepeoplesickday.com, join the Discord, and join the movement. This is how we stand up against what is happening in our country. We need to shut it down. We need to shut it down. So go to thepeoplesickday.com, sign up for the Discord, and you can get more information there.
Should I sign up and see how many people are in the Discord? Do you think it's in the millions? Oh my goodness. They do not, they don't like the big, beautiful bill. They don't like what Trump is doing. They think that this is going to go somewhere. I thought it was pretty funny. Thank you, Sammy, for sending that to me. All right. I've got a thing on Powell, but I think I'm just going to post that separately because so I have enough time to show everything else. But basically, Powell, I'll be posting this after the show. Actually, Powell, it's interesting. He, although he was pushed by the person who questioned him, but he was in Portugal recently, and he is pretty much saying he didn't lower interest rates because of the tariffs, and yet outside of the same part of his mouth, he's saying we're just in a wait and see because we're waiting to see what happens with the tariffs. Even though the economy is great, he chose not to raise the interest rates because just in case the tariffs do something bad. But it's good news coming out of the tariffs. Like I think the news coming out was like $100 billion in revenue for the country based off of the tariffs already. So I'm going to post that. I already clipped it, so I'll just share that after the show because it's kind of a little bit long. All right. The race card was played. Did you know that? We've got the race card. Trump's second term is giving a green light to blatant racism. Oh my goodness. Okay. Was this? I don't know if that's the one I wanted to show. Yeah, no. I think I wanted to clip this.
We have not gotten a chance to talk on air in a bit. A lot has happened.
You think?
Well, we got a U.S. military parade on the birthday of the President of the United States, ostensibly for the armed services. We've got deployments of Marines on American streets.
Yeah.
One of the themes of your work is like, this has always been a perilous and contested thing.
I'm not sure if I heard one of them pass gas or not. That wasn't me, by the way. That was a part of this clip. Should I rewind it and see? I'm trying to keep it light tonight, guys. Okay, I'm just going to continue.
This thing we have.
Yeah.
But it does feel very perilous to me right now, and I'm curious how it feels to you.
Well, I try to hold two things in my mind. The fact that the moment in Trump does not spring out of nowhere.
Right.
That it does have, a historical connection. At the same time, this is a moment. It is a particular, it doesn't, you don't just roll your eyes and say, oh, well, it's always been this way. No, I think there's something, very, very different about this, certainly since the post-civil rights era. I think one of the really successes of the movement was that it made a certain kind of open bigotry and really, just a kind of...
Have these people not learned that this rhetoric doesn't work anymore? People know. This is kind of a long clip, so I'm not gonna continue it, but I just think it's hilarious that they keep trying to use the race card. And it doesn't work. But there were SCOTUS rulings recently, and people are not happy about SCOTUS. So let's look and see who's not happy about this. I guess I have an ex post. This is good. This is good. Yeah, I'm going to show the comments after this, but let's listen to this clip really quick.
Is effectively yes. Yes, that's a distinct possibility, because if a state isn't allowed to obtain a nationwide injunction, then what the Supreme Court has said is every individual plaintiff, they can only get relief as to themselves individually and their children. So that means an individual, a U.S. citizen baby whose parents haven't obtained a lawyer, that the executive branch could deny them citizenship simply because they were not able to file a case to challenge the order as to them. That is just, I think, an appalling result.
Let me tell you what she's twisting here. This is a SCOTUS ruling that says that the lower courts should not be able to affect national policy. And they're melting down about that. And instead of speaking to the problem at hand, which would be activist judges in state courts, county courts, whatever, the circuit courts, being able to single-handedly stop national policy is the huge problem. They're not speaking to that. Instead, they're trying to say that someone who can't afford an attorney and their baby is not here and born legally is going to be deported because the poor family can't have some local jurisdiction judge advocate for them. It doesn't make any sense. There's two things here. There's the SCOTUS ruling on the rogue activist judges, and then there's the citizenship question about naturalization. And they're really trying to put fear into people. You know, I just think their stuff doesn't stick anymore. It doesn't stick anymore. And so they look ridiculous.
And how difficult and expensive it is to obtain lawyers. And again, we're talking about a very vulnerable population here. You know, individuals whose parents might be undocumented, who might be here without legal status, and you are requiring all of them to obtain lawyers to ensure their children are able to have their constitutional right of birthright citizenship.
So what children were deported that were citizens of the United States unless their parent was illegal and wanted to keep their children with them when they were deported? That's the only situation I've heard of. So the funny thing is on here, look at the this is what cracked me up. The screenshots of her frozen face, her crazy face. Oh my goodness. There's one more. This one. Oh, this cracked me up. It's so funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, moving on. Moving on. There's another SCOTUS. Okay, this one is crazy. This is MSNBC. And they are insinuating that Trump wants to plan a murder. I kid you not.
Walk me through why you see this ruling as deeply dangerous, not for people who are birthright citizens, but much more broadly for every American.
Imagine Donald Trump wants to do something illegal to you, Ali Velshi. Imagine that he wants to murder you. Imagine that he and Stephen Miller release an entire policy explaining about how they can murder Canadian journalists who are working in America because they're taking the jobs from real American journalists, right? So he's going to murder you. So you, Ali Velshi, you go to court. You go to court in the Southern District of New York and you say, like, I don't think this murder thing is constitutional. It's clearly illegal. It's clearly constitutional. Donald Trump and Pam Bondi and Stephen Miller shouldn't be able to have a plan to murder me.
Pam Bondi and Stephen Miller? Now, why did he pull those names out? By the way, this is from Western Lensman. I have to give credit where credit is due. They're basically, this goes on, this is like a 2-minute clip, but this goes on and on about how Trump would plan this murder and how evil they are. They are just losing it. They're crazy. They're crazy. You know, it's interesting that he's talking about Stephen Miller because I'm actually going to skip to, I don't know if you guys heard that Terry Moran was suspended at ABC because he went on a rant about Stephen Miller. So I'm just going to bring that up since they were just talking about Stephen Miller. But so Terry Moran, let me pull this up quick. So this happened last month that ABC News suspended him after he unleashed a deranged post on X against Stephen Miller. So quick, let's listen to what he asks Trump. He's got TDS. Let's just listen.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency? Very serious.
I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across the stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news. All right. Thank you. And by the way, ABC is one of the worst, I have to be honest with you. Thank you. Do you think the reputation of the United States...
So, interestingly, though, Trump handled that really, really well because that was a really rude question. But here's the rant he did on X, and then he deleted it. So he said, the thing about Stephen Miller is not that he is the brains behind Trumpism. This is a journalist, mind you, at a major network. Yes, he is one of the people who conceptualizes the impulses of the Trumpist movement and translates them into policy. But that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not brains, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater. Called him a world-class hater. You can see this just by looking at him because you can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate. This is quite the rant. Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred only a means to an end, and that end, his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment. So this is a rant, and a lot of people complained about it. He's supposed to be an objectionable or use objective journalism, and he's posting this stuff. So he got suspended. I don't think he got fired. So maybe he's back online already or on air already because this was like 3 weeks ago. But interestingly, I also found a clip about Mr. TDS, Terry Moran, and he had a reference to Trump that he likened him to Hitler. Let's listen.
One more thing, which is the way that Republicans just aren't going to budge, whatever the nature of this argument, whatever the nature of the facts.
By the way, this is 2021, right after Trump stepped away and Biden was sworn in, early February of 2021.
Is because I think we heard it in these vivid videos that the Democratic House managers are playing. Fight for Trump, fight for Trump, fight for Trump. Not fight for America,
He has the Republican Party as a personalized power like we haven't seen. It's a Caudillo, it's a Caesar, it's a Führer. We don't see that in this country. We do now.
It's a Führer. So that was in 2021. So he's been quite biased for quite a while, but I think we knew that. So let's see. I'm almost done, guys, because I'm going in alphabetical order. Here's a crazy store worker. So this, I don't know where this is, but this guy who worked at the store, he was behind the counter and he took care of customers and was a cashier. Well, he lost his mind when a Trump supporter, someone wearing a Trump hat, came into the store and wanted to buy something.
Liberal store worker melts down over a Make America Great Again hat and Trump shirt. Check this out.
I am looking forward to releasing this video because I just want to purchase something.
F*** off, dude! F*** off! Get the f*** off in here, man! Fuck, man! You stay! You can't stand your racist motherfuckers!
Racist?
Yeah!
Right. I'm not a racist.
He's wearing some Trump bullshit, got some racist bullshit all up in his head and shit. I'm not serving anyone that has to do with that. He's a treasonous asshole.
I don't have a problem with you, sir. I'd like to purchase some of this naked vape juice, though, if that would be all right. All right, see, because... Okay, here's where we're at.
Leave the store.
Here's where you're at.
Leave the store.
Here's
Leave the store.
Here's where
Leave
we're at.
the store. Off. I don't give a. Get out. Get out.
Help your customer.
Whoa. He was a little mad. He was a little crazy. I've got more to show, but I just wanted to comment quick because is it here in Minnesota, which is the craziest state of all, where the Republicans put forth a bill to officially make Trump derangement syndrome a mental illness? Am I right on that? I think I recently talked about that. Is that crazy or what? Now, of course, that would never pass here because, you know, we've got Tim Walz as our, oh no, you got kicked off of, this is, okay, this is funny. I've got to do a little bit of catch up on the chat. So Rumble kicked you off, Rocker Lady. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what could have happened. Maybe they had a glitch or something. And the Facebook page of the people who want to do the People's Sick Day.
What if millions of us stopped working, stopped?
It has a couple thousand people. So that's kind of interesting. Anyway, yeah, I think it was here in Minnesota where they put that bill forth. I'm pretty sure that's where it was. Okay, you guys ready for Swalwell? Oh, let's talk about Eric Swalwell. We have a few things. I don't even know what these are, but I do know what the last one is. Okay, this is so funny. Okay. Eric Swalwell wrote, so first of all, Sean Duffy said that Mayor of LA's pathetic leadership left hardworking Angelenos totally stranded during the anti-ICE riots. Now I hear taxpayers are going to foot the $30 million bill to clean up her mess too. The LA mayor's mess. Not one red cent from the U.S. Department of Transportation. So Swalwell wrote, "Hey Einstein, your dipshit president spent $134 million and counting on sending the National Guard to do nothing. They're still in LA, and there's nothing for them to do. Sit this one out." Like he's being super clever. He ended up deleting it, Eric Swalwell. I'm not sure why, but then Sean wrote, "Did you delete this tweet because Fang Fang wrote it?" The trolling. You know what I love? President Trump gave permission for Republicans to speak to truth, to stick up for themselves, to troll, like they never would do it before. And I'm just, Swalwell has the worst TDS of all. I don't know why did I bookmark this like 3 times, the same thing? I guess I did, but I've got another one. This is a video. Swalwell, I don't know if you know, he's got a podcast, and Sean Penn was on his podcast. Let's listen in to Sean Penn and his TDS.
But before Bukele gets to that point where he's dealing with another leader, we should consider worst case scenarios. And I do think it's a reasonable theory that Donald Trump is not unlike the spouse of someone who leaves him perhaps for another, who then murders their former partner because if they can't have her, nobody can. And I think Donald Trump in his solipsism may have that relationship with the world, and that this destruction is in part a power play and also a literal intention of his final out.
Before I continue, just in case you didn't hear that very well, because I thought I fixed the sound on this, but it sounded low to me. Basically, he is saying he's likening Trump to someone who was like a spouse abuser, that when the woman leaves, the abuser says, if I can't have her, nobody can have her. So he's basically trying to allude to the fact that Trump wants to take America down, even though he loves America. He's America first. He talks about America first. He talks about how much he loves America. And anyway, so they're crazy. They just look ridiculous. But let's continue.
You think he'll try to stay on?
I think he might try to destroy the world before he ages out of life.
He's going to destroy the world before he ages out of life. When Eric Swalwell thinks that he's going to try to run for a 4th term, they call it a 3rd term, but I would call it a 4th term. He's like, no, he's going to destroy the world, because he's going to just be too old.
Jim, in the history of dictators or those who aspire to be dictators, there's never a succession plan, right? There's never, and that's what worries me is if he doesn't believe there's somebody who can protect him, that you will see him ratchet up, what he's willing to do to the country to protect himself.
The rhetoric is just nuts. They think he's a dictator, which is super funny. Okay, we have a few more. I'm going to go to Tim Walz, and then the last ones, I've got 3 that are about USAID. But Tim Walz, he wants to know, since now that Donald Trump is president, who will be the voice of the world?
Now, who is the voice in the world that can negotiate some type of agreement in this? Who holds the moral authority? Who holds the ability to do that? Because we are not seen as a neutral actor, and we maybe never were. I don't want to tell anybody that. I think there's a lot of people who say you always leaned one way in this, but I think there was at least an attempt to be somewhat of the arbitrator in this. We saw President Carter do it with Begin and Sadat. We've had certain wins along the way that were actually mutually beneficial both ways. Now I ask who that is. And I mean, consistently over and over again, we're going to have to face the reality. It might be the Chinese.
China is the moral authority and the voice of the world? What the heck? I think TDS is so bad that they have lost their mind. They have literally lost their mind. Okay, USAID. Did you know that Bush, Obama, and Bono are not happy? So as of Monday, I think, USAID is no more. And everybody's like really sad about USAID going away. And Bush and Obama decided to speak out, and a tearful Bono fault Trump's gutting of USAID on agency's last day. Oh, and they've got this picture of Obama looking at Trump. But look at how happy Trump looks. Oh my goodness. So Obama said that the dismantling of USAID was a colossal mistake. Yeah, this was one of the biggest wins the American public will ever see when it comes to fraud and corruption. They don't like it because a lot of the stuff that they backed and were a part of were funded through the USAID. And singer Bono held back tears as he recited a poem in an emotional farewell to the staffers. This is just unbelievable. Not only that, per CNN, actually, I'm going to show Bono since we're talking about Bono. And then I'll end it with CNN. The narrative is something else. 300,000 people, did you know, have already died? Let's listen, but then you guys have to hear Joe's response because it's epic.
Just recent report. It's not proven, but the surveillance enough suggests 300,000 people have already died from just this cut off, this hard cut of USAID. So there's food rotting in boats.
That's the other thing. They say there's food rotting. By the way, SJ Falls 1 on X. I see your posts. I'll just, for Carrie's sake, because you responded to Carrie. Carrie said Waltz is delusional, and Sammy said that is an understatement, Carrie, on X. So I think there's a way. So I'm using a new studio. I think there's a way for me to show your texts. Yes, I figured it was you, Sammy. I'll figure out how to show your texts so that people on other channels can see what you're saying. Oh, you can see it on the screen, actually. So, yes, he has made himself ridiculous. Okay, Bono is just crazy.
Warehouses. There is this will fuck you off. You will not be happy. No American will. But there is, I think it's 50,000 tons of food that are stored in Djibouti, South Africa, Dubai, and wait for it.
By the way, the State Department said that's not true. They keep spewing the narrative that there's food rotting. They're not letting any food go to waste, and it's just not true. And some of what the USAID did that was actually good is being absorbed by the State Department. So the good stuff is staying around. It's just moving. And the bad stuff is we're saying bye-bye to all the corruption.
Houston, Texas. And that is rotting rather than going to Gaza, rather than going to Sudan, because the people who know the codes or for the warehouse are fired. They're gone. And so this, I don't know, what do you think?
He asked Joe, what do you think? That was his biggest mistake.
What is that? That's not America, is it?
Well, they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
Right. This is the problem. The problem is, for sure, there have been a lot of organizations that do tremendous good all throughout the world. Also, for sure, it was a money laundering operation. For sure, there was no oversight. For sure, billions of dollars are missing. In fact, trillions that are unaccounted for, that were sent off into various, they don't even know where because there's no receipts.
So he pretty much shut him down. That was good. But according to CNN, so Bono was pretty dramatic, saying 350,000 people already died. I have no idea where he thinks he's getting that information from, but CNN took it a little step further.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
So I'm just going to expand this and start it over. Wait till
Rubio
you
is hailing
hear
the end of
how
US
many people they say are going to, oh, it's already on the screen. Yeah, they say 14 million people are going to die because of this.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio is hailing the end of USAID, the nation's largest foreign aid agency, even as a new analysis finds that its closure could contribute to some 14 million deaths in the next 5 years.
Oh my gosh. They are crazy. They're still trying the propaganda. They're still trying it, guys. And, you know, their old playbook doesn't work. I totally thought that they would come up with a new playbook, but they haven't. Anyway, I just thought for 4th of July coming up, it would be fun to just do a light show and make fun of some of these folks and some conservatives too. And I've just been noticing some of these clips lately, especially this week with the USAID and the big beautiful bill. People are freaking out. I'm sure there's a million more videos I could show, but you know, I think I took up enough of your time tonight. Make sure that you like this this video, no matter what platform you're on, because it will help. Make sure the algorithm shows it to other people. I would really appreciate it. And subscribe. It's free. You know, come on Rumble and follow. And no, I appreciate hanging out with you guys. We're going to do Meme Wars this weekend. We have a special guest. Faster Pill is going to join us, and I will be wearing my patriotic shirt to celebrate Independence Day. So it will be the day after Independence Day. And I hope you join us. I'm super excited that he's going to join me and Herbie this Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. And we'll see you guys online. Thanks so much for joining. Have a good night.
I can see clear.